What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mongols. This is our reaction show or something like that, where we're going to break down all about how the Riverhounds drew with Detroit. I am Mike Sparks. Joining me for this one is Steve Mattiace and Josh Brokaw. Gentlemen, how are you?
I'm slightly burnt, but I'm good.
Slightly. You do look a little tender on top there, Josh. How you said you were on vacation?
Yeah, I went to Deep Creek with some friends.
Sweet.
So, we rented a boat. We had randomly, I think a couple of us were out swimming in the lake, and then we saw a boat go by that had like a number to rent a floating trampoline. And so that ended up at the place, and we're all like 40,
Of
30
course.
or late 30s. So it's like, why are we renting a trampoline?
Because you can, man. Come on.
Yeah, it was a struggle just to get on it.
Yeah.
And then once I got on it, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to jump off and never get on this thing again.
A story for another time, but my lasting impression of Deep Creek is we almost sank a pontoon boat there one time, which you would think is like impossible, but it's apparently not. So
I mean, you bring that up, you can't say that story for another time.
I think he just told the whole story. They almost sank a pontoon boat.
we almost sank a pontoon boat. Yeah, exactly. Steve, how's your week been?
Oh, it's been fine. Yeah, like I've been really tired. I don't know why, but I think that my first tomatoes are about to be ripe. So, like, I'm hoping tomorrow. If not, should be like Tuesday or Wednesday. So I am looking forward to tomato sandwiches.
Yes.
I'll be eating them the rest of the summer.
Yeah, that's great. We put in some raised beds this year, and so we have tomatoes, and I have like this trellis, and I looked out, and the trellis was like tipping over because there's so many tomatoes.
Oh yeah,
so.
my tomato cages, I've had to readjust like 3 times because they're just so heavy in there. It's great.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, appreciate you joining me for this one. Good show, right? We're done. That's it. There's nothing else to talk about.
Hey, see you later.
Wrap it up. Bye, guys.
He fills out the hand. Where's the glove?
Yeah, sorry. This has now become like a nervous twitch for those of you who can't see. My son. There's a wooden hand I got from IKEA, and it had the Eric Dick glove on it. And my son came in and he was like, you should just hold that wooden hand like it's your hand and like see how long it takes for people to realize. And then it just became like a nervous thing where I like holding it. So you'll probably just see it throughout the rest of the show because I'm weird. Let's talk about the Detroit game for a few minutes. And then there's
what is there to talk about?
Well, that's kind of why I said a few minutes. Then there's a lot that's been going on around the team, around the club, and I just kind of want to get your guys' temperature on it and just sort of see how you feel. And I'm curious how other people feel about it as well. So if you do have thoughts, be sure to share them in the comments, and maybe we'll circle back and read through them maybe next week. But guys, first up, Hounds drew 0-0 to Detroit on the road. Josh, just gut feelings from that.
Yeah, I mean, it's Detroit, so I feel like there's this history with Detroit, and it always feels like those games are kind of like they're intense, but they're also very stalematey.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't like how many draws do we have between the two clubs? I think it's a good amount if I remember right.
A lot, yeah.
But so I'm not overly surprised at the 0-0 draw. I am a little bit surprised this year because Detroit. At least they had a slow start, and I thought maybe we could get the upper hand on them, but they're pretty much right up with us now. So It's not that big of a difference, but we're still like 6 points almost, or like 4 points ahead of them. But anyway, it was a slog of a game, and it was also a situation where I'm on vacation. I put the game on because it's on regular TV, so I'm like, all right, cool. This place has cable. Let's put it on, and all these people are watching with me, and it's like. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, that's always the worst when you're like, there's this team that I love and we follow it passionately. Let's sit down and watch it. And then it's just a snooze fest. Yeah. Steve, how are you feeling after this one?
Meh. For the record, 4 draws and the Hounds have 3 wins to Detroit's 2. So very, very evenly matched to Josh's comments. No, I mean, this game was just a bit of a disappointment, mainly because I don't know what the plan is to go out and actually pick up points. there was just nothing to talk about in this game that is encouraging when it comes to scoring goals. And I am tired of talking about the need to score goals, but that's what we need.
Yeah, it is. It's feeling a bit almost, pre Bob Lilly in the sense that Josh, we used to come on the show and be like, what are we going to talk about this time, guys? Like, how do we spin this? Do we really want to do this? I don't know how to feel about it. The positive is that we did get a draw. We didn't lose on the road. We say over and over again, you get 1 point on the road, you get 3 points at home, you're doing fine. I just flashed the table up there. We're sitting in 5th place, so we're in a playoff spot. But I think that those who have been kind of close to the team for a long time kind of understand that that's fine, but like that's also not necessarily the direction that we want to be pointing in terms of where we are in terms of the long term look of this team. I guess one of the positives from this game was Eric Dick made a couple of big saves, got the shutout. He showed up when we needed to. We needed him
Mhm.
give me like one other positive, each of you. Just like, it could be a player, it could be a moment, it could be anything, and then we'll get into Mondo's moment too. Josh, give me something positive from this.
Other than Eric Dick?
Yes, other than Eric Dick. Dig deep, man. Dig deep.
We didn't blow it. I mean, it is a situation where you want to see the team be able to go in some place that is a rough atmosphere for a lot of teams and to, round out a point. And that is what they did. I think on any other year, in any other situation, any other time of the season, probably, we would be a little bit less down on this game. It would be like, all right, we went to Detroit. We, eked out a point, and we'll get them when we play them at home.
Agreed.
And that's kind of like all you can expect. But it's just happens to be a situation that we bungled a win the week before and got a
Mhm.
draw, and so now getting another draw, it just kind of felt like a meh situation, especially with a Detroit team that is also meh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve?
Beto played a lot better, which was good to see. I mean, I wasn't really impressed with him last week against Loudoun, and so to see him have a good game and make some bigger plays and just be solid defensively. I mean, that is important just as much as we talk about goals. Having the clean sheet is really important, and so the work of the defense, protecting Eric for so long, and then Eric coming up big with those few big saves. I think that's good.
Yeah.
Am I enthusiastic about it? No.
Right. Right. Let's see what Mondo thinks.
It's time for Mondo's moment, the top moment of the game from the Mondalorian.
This week's Mondo moment comes in the 16th minute as Eric Dick stands on his head to stop an absolute laser beam from point-blank range by Atez Diouf, symbolizing entirely how the Hounds players overcame being tactically outmatched all game long by Detroit. This is the way.
This has been Mondo's moment. Go Hounds.
He sent me one that was far less scathing, and he was like, "You choose," and I said, "We'll go with the scathing one. Like, let's do it."
I think tactically overmatched is exactly how I feel about this game. And the Hounds still putting in a big defensive effort to compensate for that. And that's not a great feeling after this game.
Yeah.
Like this was without Eric, this is easily a 2-0 game. A 2-0
Yes.
loss. Yeah.
Agreed. Let's just because we have to, let's pick our top 3, and then we can talk about the broader context of everything else. Because unless you guys feel like there's something else that we need to talk about as it relates to this game.
I mean, we could pick out moments like the open opportunity for Augie to score on a terrible clearance from their keeper. Kicks it into the back of one of our players. I can't remember who it was the back of.
I think it might have been Griffin.
And then, Griffin had no idea. Like, it was just running away, and then suddenly they kick in his back, and then it kind of falls to Augie, and Augie disguises it, and it's like, oh, okay. Do you think that would have been allowed even if he would have scored it?
Yeah, because
I didn't see anything wrong. Yeah,
because he can't be offside when it is a deflection off of a player that has no idea like that, right? It's not like the ball was played to him.
Yeah.
So
now, would the ref have called it that way? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I felt a little bit like almost like the play was dead already when he kicked it, but I assume it would have been allowed, and so that is a missed opportunity. But I'm not gonna be like, Augie, what are you doing? Terrible, blah blah blah. It was a weird situation, but
Weird
it would have been nice.
situation. It just for me, it was emblematic of what we've seen from him the past few weeks, which is it just looks like he has got so much pressure to try to get that goal from open play and is overthinking everything.
Yeah.
I feel for the guy, but it's just not working. Like statistically, it's just not working. And so what does that mean? Anything else before we do our top 3?
That's all I got.
Cool. Dick. I'm nominating Dick.
Darn
it. What's that?
Can I pick Eric?
Can I pick Eric Dick?
Just gonna ignore that and write on my page. Josh, give me another one.
I mean, I can steal Steve's, and Beto played pretty well.
You can steal Steve's. Beto was actually nominated by the team as the player of the game. So, okay. Steve, give us our third.
I mean, give me one of the other center backs.
You pick. You want Subs?
I think I kind of do. I'll say Vactor did well when he had some moments further up the field, but I think Sean's presence really is indispensable in a game like this.
Agreed. I agree with that. Does that change? Like, so I'm writing down the order: Dick, Beto, Suber. Is that our order? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, so.
I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's who we think. Let us know who you think. I know this is happening like 12 minutes into the show, and we typically talk for 45 minutes, but we have other stuff to talk about. Gosh darn it! So, moving on from this game, guys. We've spent a lot of time talking about Lily and all of that. We had a really fun show last week. With lots of little Easter eggs of different people popping up. Josh, you were pointing at how you were in the background, I think, of Kaz's shot while you were waiting to be on camera. So lots of like really fun stuff. If you missed that episode, go back and listen to it, because even though that game ended in a draw, it was still a lot of fun. But there's a lot of other stuff that has come out since then that we did not get a chance to talk about, even though some of it happened moments after that game. So I want to spend a little bit of time just kind of getting your temperature on things. First of all, let's just talk about statistically where the team is at. I'm going to put the standings up. We've not actually looked at the standings, I don't believe, yet this season. The Hounds are currently sitting in 5th with 22 points. Detroit are right behind us with 21. What's interesting to me is, 5th place, not terrible. We move up one more spot, and we've got that home field advantage for at least the first round of the playoffs, assuming that we maintain that spot. The distance between 5th and 4th is 4 points. So we have 4 points that we need to make up to overtake North Carolina, who are above us with 26. The interesting thing is that even though it only takes 4 points for us to go up one spot, it could also be 4 points and we're out of the playoff picture, because Miami is in 9th with 18 and 4 points separate 5th from 9th. So while you can look up and be like, guys, we're really close to 5th, we're just as close to being out of the playoffs altogether. Or I'm sorry, we're so close to 4th. We're just as close to being out of the playoffs altogether. Now, the three of us, I don't believe, have talked about the standings at all. Josh, just your gut reaction to kind of like where we are. Does this matter? Just how do you feel kind of seeing the table as it is?
I mean, it's definitely a game between 3rd place and 8th place. Is pretty much all that we're playing for at this point, because I don't think anyone's getting up to Louisville in 2nd place and Charleston in 1st place. I mean, there's enough games where obviously you could, but realistically, I think unless things fall apart for one of those clubs, they have those spots locked up. Now it is a little bit more of a race between the two of them. There's definitely a lot of wiggle room that can happen there, but so with that in mind, the fact that we're in 5th place right now, isn't that like it's just so close that it feels like that you kind of have to start doing something to get more towards Loudoun's points than currently 18 points for Birmingham.
Yeah. Steve, how are you feeling about this?
I I don't know. I look at this table. I look at games played that everybody has, and it kind of feels like they just need to stay above the people below them and not worry too much about Loudoun and North Carolina at this point. I remember after the game, somebody in our Slack mentioned that North Carolina had just won, and I kind of responded that it doesn't really matter what everybody else is doing in any individual game at this point. In the back of my mind, I was thinking, channeling my inner Justin. These are not must-win games, but at the same time, right? Like what other people are doing isn't relevant. People will drop points. The Hounds need to be going out and picking up as many points as possible whenever possible. And so this is a missed opportunity for me.
Yeah. What's interesting to me is you just mentioned sort of the concept of a must-win game, and that concept almost feels so foreign to me at this point because I'm so wrapped up in everything else that's happening that I'm like, how much does a must-win game even matter at this point? Obviously, we're still going to try to climb the table, but I think that I almost feel like we're in this position despite everything else that's going on. We kind of had this conversation with Laura Ellen a little bit where it's like because versus despite of. And so it's great that we're in fifth and, you know, we're basically like third out of the rest. If no one else is catching Charleston and Louisville, there's a chance we could jump up to fourth or third, but it feels like there's still so many question marks for this team that the fact that we are in fifth to me is a little bit mind boggling about kind of like what is going on with the rest of these teams because, you know, we just, the goals that we get seem to just come from, I don't know where. And you can't be a good team when you don't have sort of a solid plan for attack. So yeah. I don't know. Let's talk about some of the other stuff that's happened. If you have listened to Houndsy, they were all over this. I think the last third of their episode, they really tore into these comments. So we're not going to spend too much time, but I am interested in your guys' thoughts because we did not talk about this on the last show. So after the game was over, Lily was doing his press conference. Pittsburgh Soccer Now, they recorded the interview, and then John went out and posted those comments as part of an article. And I'm putting the pieces from the article up on the screen now. So specifically, Lily said, "We were just bad. We close out all the other games at home, some impressively, others not so impressively. You don't expect Perrin Barnes to go down. Danny Griffin's played right wing back. He's capable of opening his mouth to get Burton Jockeson to do his job. We're defending late in the game, and he's the right side midfielder, and Danny's playing right wing back, so he should be connected." So that's a player cheating and a captain not saying anything to him. Some of it is you have to work off the ball. Later, it goes on, and then he says, even when picking up second balls, Loudon were almost always there, and even Jackson Walty, who's never late and always on time to make a play, he was late in a lot of situations because he's gassed. Some of it is we didn't manage the game well. We gave balls away cheaply a lot. We didn't win any second balls. Josh, your immediate thoughts when you sort of hear what Lily had to say?
I mean, I try to take a step back and think of previous press conferences, and I don't really think this is that different than what we've seen in other press conferences because Lily's always pointed the finger out and never in at every single loss or draw or even just imperfect win. I always feel like he is criticizing players, but it's usually the biggest difference is it's usually as a whole. It's he says like the team or like, you know, the guys are doing this. He doesn't usually call out players by name, at least not in these press conferences. I feel like having conversations with Lily, you'll hear him, you know, bad talk anyone and everyone. He doesn't really have a filter in that aspect. But it is very discouraging at this moment with the, you know, actually naming names. So that is the difference, and it is upsetting. It is a case where, yeah, I think I already said it, but it just never really looking or never criticizing himself as much as he criticizes all the other aspects of the game, even though he's where the buck should be stopping, but it never seems to stop with him.
Yeah.
I mostly want to agree with you, Josh, but I think for me, the big difference here is I've heard Bob, and I've been to a lot of press conferences. I've heard Bob specifically single out players, uh, but I can't think of many times where he's singled out players without saying, and so this is what we need to do as a team. This is what I need to do with those players to improve that, right? Like, so it's like, so and so missed a tackle on this or wasn't in the right position. So we need to coach and we need to work on that to get better. This was a very different tone to me where it's like, this is this player's fault. And no, Bob, it's not Danny Griffin's fault because Danny Griffin is not a wingback. And it's your fault for putting Danny in that position where you're expecting him to do a job that is not the job that he has done for the past 5 seasons. It's your fault because you don't have the player selection to cover those positions. So you're mixing players into positions they're not used to playing, and then you're getting upset at them when they can't perform that. That's on you. That's not on the players.
Yeah. It feels different to me. I remember having a lot of conversations with Kevin, Josh, early on where we would go, "What do you think about Bob's reaction?" And Kevin was always like, when you lose, you want your coach to kind of like pick the players up, and when you win, you want them to kind of keep them down a little bit. And so you're right in the sense that he used to talk in these absolutes about like, well, the team, the guys, this is what we're working on. We got to get better at yada yada yada. And it was always in these like vagaries. And this just feels like something different to me. Like it feels like he's lashing out. I mean, and you have to keep in mind, this is well after the final whistle, well after he's probably already talked to the team, and now he's up talking to the press, and he's still like this heated that he's losing control and calling out your captain like that. This is somebody that the players all support and everybody likes, and literally Danny's kind of been your guy, and to throw him under the bus like that, it's just I have no idea what's going on. It feels like something is going on, and it's just
Yeah, and like I was pulling up because when I was thinking about this, I wanted to make sure, like I said, I wanted to take a step back and so I went back and look at previous press conferences, that kind of stuff, and like for example, on the win over Tampa, 2-1 win, he said even at the end of the game we were lazy. We have to avoid taking our foot off the gas, and like that's a situation where I'm like, the team is not in a position where it feels like they are striving for greatness right now. It feels like they are trying to find their footing. And yeah, maybe a coach should kind of like tamper, after a win to make sure their heads don't get too big. But I don't think anyone's head was getting big after a
no.
2-1 victory against Tampa Bay, one of the worst teams in the league right now. So to call your team lazy after that was also questionable. But it was a win, so it's kind of easy to look over it and be like, whatever, no one's listening to you, Bob, right now anyway. So like, but like that stuff just kind of sticks with me, and like sticks out when I'm looking through all these and I'm seeing, repeatedly cheating, slow, lazy. Like it's always the tactics were sound, but the execution was flawed, and that's how he thinks of it. Is I'm not the problem. You guys just didn't do what I told you to do. And at some point, you're the one picking the players. You're the one training the players. You're the one do it. Like, you can't just be like, well, it's on you, not me. And that's the annoying part.
Yeah.
And you used 3 subs, and you're complaining about a player being gashed, complaining about a player being played out of position. You've got Junior Etu, you've got Max Broughton on the bench. You've got Garcia on the bench, right? Like you have other options. You chose not to use them, but then you blame the players for not being able to execute what you want them to. Well, yeah, of course a guy's going to be gassed, but you could have put somebody else in there.
Right. That's my biggest thing, especially with the Jackson Wolty comment of him being gassed. Your job is to manage the game. They were playing it was a 5:00 game on a Sunday night where the sun is beating down. Of course he is gassed. You need to manage the game and take him out before he's too gassed to put on a player to replace him. You can't blame him for being tired. So, yeah.
And if you aren't happy enough with those options on the bench, then you are the one that's responsible for who is on the bench, right? Like you have time. Go sign another player. If you want another defensive midfielder, if you want another wingback, go find those players. Do the work instead of just saying it's this player's fault in this game, but we're not going to change anything elsewhere.
Yeah. Josh, this is slightly off topic, but you saying you kind of went back and looked at a bunch of Lilly press conferences. It might be fun to take all of the previous Lilly press conferences and put it into like an AI and have like an AI Bob and then like ask it a question and see what kind of reaction you get back. Is it going to be like, the guys, or would it like make up some fake player's name and, think Danny Griffin was our goalkeeper and be like, he just didn't make that save today.
I thought we were talking about AI hallucinations, not Bob's.
Well,
it's funny you say that because I did take all of the press conferences and put it into ChatGPT and had it kind of like analyze some stuff and see what it found. Not to act like Bob, but more to be like, what trends are you seeing? What cycles do we go through? What's it always like when we win, when we lose versus draws, and like that kind of stuff. And that's where I am pulling some of this is from. Is just like this is a behavior that we're seeing constantly. And I want to give it a bigger data set because I just did like the last like 5 games that he had press conferences, but I would like to find more and actually kind of feed it even more to see like what trends are you seeing here.
Yeah, I had no idea you actually did that, by the way. It was just like the way you phrased it. So good for you for being Johnny on the spot there. Yeah, that's great. I don't know what else we can possibly say about this in terms of our feelings. It definitely feels like the locker room is lost when you're taking swings at players like that. We used to be able to see it personally when he would do it on the field post match, and now that he's not doing it there, he's doing it publicly. Danny Griffin had a press conference. He was part of that same press conference. They interviewed him separately, and he wasn't taking shots at Bob the way that Bob's taking shots at him. The locker room is lost. And so we're halfway through the season. As a fan base, I kind of feel like if the locker room is gone, I don't know of many examples of where you lose the locker room and then you get it back. The fact that the team is like, even thinking, is the team doing okay? I don't think the team is doing okay. We still can't score. Like we're performing despite this, and it's just not. I don't know, Steve. What are your like? I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I mean, so I can't talk about anything specific because it's just rumors at this point. But the rumors that I keep hearing from different sources lead me to believe that the behind the scenes relationships are in a really grim spot. And so if that is true, it just makes me wonder what Tuffy is waiting for, right? Like if you're right, Mike, and the locker room is lost and the relationship between Bob and the players has broken down so much that that they're not able to have actual fruitful conversations. I talked about it in that Loudon game, how little he was interacting with the players like he normally does from the sideline. In this game, he was a little bit more animated, but I still don't feel like it was what we're used to seeing from Bob. That something is definitively different. So what are you waiting for, Tuffy? Like it's not going to get better. At best, you're going to limp into the playoffs, and then what? Right? Like you're not scoring goals. Your players and your coach seemingly aren't getting along. You've got an upset fan base. So make a change.
Josh, where do you stand on that?
It's going to sound weird, but I'm still not on make a change mid-season. Just because I do feel like there is some loyalty there that I do have for, the legacy of it and the fact that this is an excuse for him to keep on doing what he's doing. I do want to see changes. I just think that he can make those changes. And it would be great. I think it's too late for, being like, okay, I've completely changed how I coach. And now, I'm going to coach next season. I would still like to see a change at the off season. But I'm not to the point where I think a mid-season change is going to be that beneficial. Because I feel like by the time we go through the rigmarole of getting an interim coach and then finding a real coach and then having the players there, like I don't think we're going to see a better situation. Maybe I'm wrong. I would love it if we could, turn on a dime and have someone already in the wings and get them up and running fast. But it is like, how many games are there? Like 10, 12 games left, or actually might be a little bit more than that, but
I think that was game 16. So 14 league games left.
14 league games. So yeah, 14 games. It is a good amount of time. So I think a coach could have time to actually make a difference, but I just don't see that happening. I think we see the season play out, and then my hope is in the off season.
So I hear what you're saying, Josh. I think for me, it is much more about what next season looks like.
Yep.
And you've got a number of players that are quality players that could walk at the end of this season. And if I'm a player and I'm out of contract, I'm not going to wait until I see who you might hire if somebody else is giving me an offer. But if you bring somebody in the next few weeks, in the next month, and I start to build a decent relationship with that player, I'm much more likely to accept a new contract, and you can keep some of those players like a Sean Suber or a Jackson Walty or somebody like that, right? Like otherwise, I think we risk losing some of those key players that we've seen over the past couple seasons. And so it's not about what can happen this season, but it's what are you doing to build for the future for me.
I think I'm in a similar spot in that for me, this season almost feels like a wash already, which is terrible to say halfway through the season. We could make the playoffs. I don't have any faith that this team, as coached, will go anywhere in the playoffs. So it's another season of, okay, you make it to the playoffs, you're out in the first or second round, and that's kind of it. And if that's the target for this organization, then great, congrats, you made it. But I guess that my biggest thing about sort of do it now versus do it later is kind of twofold. One, Steve, I'm kind of with you where if you do it now, then at least you give somebody some time to sort of assess the team, whether you make the playoffs or not. We don't really care because
Right.
now all of a sudden, I personally am kind of more reinvested in the team. I'm more excited to see what's happening. What are the little things that are changing on the field, regardless of the end results. But if this just keeps riding out and this just continues to be toxic, then it's kind of like, what am I supporting here? I don't want to see my coach out there, lambasting individual players who mean so much to this organization,
Right.
not just to him. So I guess my other biggest thing is that if there is somebody out there that they potentially have in mind, are they available at this point in the season, or do you have to wait until the off season to be able to go get them? I'm still a big fan of the idea of, let Rob and Bushy take a crack at it. We know that the players like them. You could even have Scott come in and fill in on the bench or help out after the season he had with the Riveters. But I'm kind of in the situation where if this just keeps being toxic, then this is no fun for anybody, regardless of what's happening on the field. I don't know, Josh. I'll let you kind of have the final thought on this because I kind of started with you. What do you think about that?
No, I can totally hear what you're saying. I'm not even like 100% against them, doing midseason change. I just honestly don't see it happening. I don't want to get my hopes up for that, and I also don't know if it's going to make that big of a difference. Maybe morale they could, and that might be worth doing it no matter what the situation is, because that is important. But I just don't. I don't know. My worry is that we do it midseason, we have interim coaches, and we bomb, and then now we're panicking and we're looking at just to sign anyone as a coach, and we rush someone in there, and it's just I just want to see a controlled changeover, I guess, and I don't want it to be kind of hair on fire changeover. So that's why I'm more like let him finish out the season, but this whole time be working in the background to try to find someone, work something out, and not have to do a panic signing.
Can I pat all of us on the back because I think this is the most disagreement we've had about something with it being actually well thought out and not reactive. Like that was such reasonable takes all around, and I love it.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I think it'll be interesting to kind of see. Obviously, I think regardless of what happens, there is opportunity here for the organization to, potentially interject themselves to either try to enhance the temperature in the locker room or to start to consider other options and potentially take a step in another direction. So it will be interesting. And I do hope that they look at it more as an opportunity than as like a detriment or a problem. And it is a problem, but every problem is also kind of an opportunity in disguise. So let's see what happens there. One other bit of news that isn't great that we do need to talk about. WTAE put out a story about a mother who was speaking out over lack of adequate breastfeeding room at Highmark Stadium. So specifically, I'm sort of, I have pieces of the article up here. Essentially, this woman was looking for somewhere where she could pump. And the organization definitely sort of touts itself as a family friendly place. Unfortunately, after trying multiple restrooms, they kind of directed her to the family room, which was kind of just another restroom. Not really the best situation for somebody in that situation. The quote and the response from the team on Facebook was, "We understand your concerns and want you to know that your feedback has been heard. While we've been exploring alternative options, the individual family restroom has been the most feasible solution given our current faculty limitations. We recognize that this isn't ideal, and we're continuing to look for ways to improve." And apparently Pittsburgh Action 4 News reached out to Highmark and they said they stand by that statement and have nothing else to add. Josh, I know that you've had lots of conversations as, the former Steel Army president with the team about the facilities. Just when you saw this, what were your thoughts?
It is a tough situation because I don't know where else they could have put some like that, but they should have thought that through when they built the place. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things where it's like, yes, there is no good place, but that's the problem that wasn't
Right.
thought of. I mean, I guess other than hey, come up to someone's office and we'll kick the person out of the office, and then you can breastfeed there. It's like, well, that's kind of also an awkward situation, being in someone else's space and that kind of stuff. But like, they're supposed to be doing construction over the off season, and what they're going to be doing construction on first is supposedly the whole area in the, like, where the suites are, where the gift shop is, that whole building. So this is a situation where I hope they take this into account while they're redoing all that, because that's perfect spot to make sure that there is a place for breastfeeding. So I hope they can address it. I don't really know, like, I guess my kind of bouncing it back is, what would be a better response other than, yeah, it's not great, we'll work on it.
Yeah. Steve, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I was pretty disappointed when I read the response, because to me it strikes me as a non-response. And I guess I feel like, okay, yeah, like, you don't have a good spot, but I also want to point out that you've also moved numerous people's offices out of that building up to Montour. And so if you're telling me that you can't shuffle some things around, and find a space for that, even if it's not the most convenient spot for someone to get to, or it makes you have to allow people into an area that you don't want to allow people in, that I feel like the response could have been, "We're really sorry, and we really appreciate you bringing this to our attention. We're working on a solution right now, and we'd love to invite you into that solution at this game. Come to this game," right? Like, that's the type of response that I could see. Okay, right? Like, because the problem with it is you've given a non-response, and now it's out there on local news, and so you're putting your name out there in a way that is not good, rather than saying, "Hey, what can we do to address this and address this legitimately," instead of just like, "We recognize it's not ideal."
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
I mean, to your point there, Steve, the woman's response to Highmark Stadium's response was just, I was just like, wow, really? It's 2025. The naming rights for the stadium are owned by Highmark, which is a huge healthcare organization. So she just hopes that, it continues to spark conversation in the future. I agree with you. I think that especially when the stadium was first built, when the team was first built, you look at a number of these teams and they're literally playing out of shipping containers. They don't have breastfeeding stations. This is just part of what this league is. But again, there was an opportunity here to kind of seize upon this. We know that they're trying to attract families. They have so many family nights. They have touch a truck. They have all of these things. So this I'm on this thing where it's like, this has had to have happened before, right? And this is just the first time it's gone public. There can't have been other people there who have needed to breastfeed and like haven't been able to find a spot, and it just hasn't gone public. But if this is the first time that this has legitimately happened, I agree with you, Stephen, that the messaging could have been like, we're really sorry, not like, there's nowhere at the facilities, our bad. And it's like, we've added so much outdoor space to sell more gear and to like have more outdoor. You can't bring in some like trailer or something that suddenly becomes the breastfeeding place. It's just, what are your priorities? So
a shipping container with some lazy boys in it.
That's right. Yeah. So it's not a good look. I'm also torn about like how much of this is. I do think it's a problem, but I also don't know like how much of this is the news looking for bad news kind of thing. I don't know. But it's definitely, Josh, to your point with the stadium renovations, this has to be something that they address moving forward. It just has to be.
Yeah, and that would have also been nice in a statement like that. Like, if the statement is like, well, we don't have anywhere to put that right now, be like at least show that you're being proactive, or at least it's not really proactive, it's reactionary, but show that you are taking that into consideration, and that will be part of your plans for the renovations,
right?
And a better solution and all that.
Yeah. So not a good look on that end either, guys. I mean,
what a fun conversation.
I'm just like, yeah. And listen, it's not that it's going to get any better at this point. Our next match is going to be against Portland Hearts of Pines on Friday night, which both teams have officially been eliminated from the Jägermeister Cup. So this game means absolutely nothing. Part of me feels like if you're going to make a coaching change, do it now, because you're literally playing a game that's completely worthless and you have 2 weeks to kind of make up for it. But
watch Portland win, and that causes Bob to lose his job.
I don't think that would be the cause.
I mean, how do you even approach it? Like, do you play your starting 11 in this game?
No, I hope not. Like, honestly,
Bob's going to.
I bet
we have a game on Tuesday that actually matters. So, like, a
7
Friday
or 8
game,
of those players, the starting lineup, are going to be players that are going to start on Tuesday. Like, that's my prediction.
Yeah, I hope you're wrong, but I mean probably. But yeah, like I don't think you should put a starting lineup out for this one. Like, it should be, clear the bench and just let people play who haven't had time to play. And I'm fine with that. Like, I don't think anyone would fault that. And like, if we lose, we lose. I personally don't care about this game at all. Like, if we lose embarrassingly, yeah, okay, that there's something to be said there. I don't want them to treat it completely like a scrimmage, but at the same time, you have a game on Tuesday, so this is actually pretty close to that.
Yeah. I think more. I mean, so there's the history with Bob and how he handles some of these games, but the other aspect for me that makes me say that I think there's going to be that many players starting is who actually is even available. So we'll probably see a change at goalkeeper. Barnes went down. We don't know if he's going to be healthy. Osamano is down. O'Toole is down. We haven't seen anything from Jason Borgi in a little while. The number of players that are actually available are the players that were on the bench the other night.
I think I would be more encouraged by this game if we came out and tried something completely different, because that at least tells me that we're trying to think of other ways to approach these games, and we're taking swings. And if we just come out and it's the same old thing and we're just kind of going through the paces, then it's like, that's it. We're out of ideas. It's just phone it in. So
I will not let this game dictate any of my thoughts. I'm just throwing out that as far as play on the field and all that. Like, if Bob goes off after the game and says some horrendous stuff, that's different. Or if the players have a reaction, that's different. But like, as far as play on the field, this game should not matter, in my opinion, to anyone. But like, we played Miami on Tuesday, and Miami, you look in the standings, you're like, oh, they're in 9th place. All right, cool. They have 18 points and we have 22. they're not far from us. So
Right.
like no game except for maybe Hartford and Tampa should you look at and be like, oh, they're way down the table. We got this. Like all these matter, and they could easily win, in my opinion, against this team in the way that they're playing. So like we need to show up to every game and not let a whole bunch of points slip.
And we need to show up to those Hartford and Tampa games because we saw in that Tampa game, like you brought up, that it was a lot closer than it could have been in that game, in that 2-1 win, right? So we should have easily beat them with as poor as they've been this season. And it was a close game.
Yeah, and we have 2 games in a row of that where it's someone sitting on 18 points because Rhode Island's also at 18 points. So like both of those teams are looking in at the playoffs, and like they're just on the cusp. So like these games matter a lot to these teams, and I would think they would show up. We are lucky that we have so many home games in a row, but you know, when one of those against Charleston, I don't know.
Yeah. Just real quick, just to kind of get a feel for it, win, lose, or draw on Friday, Josh. What do you think happens?
On Friday?
Yeah.
I'm going to say probably a win just because it is still... No, actually, I forgot. They have a draw.
Draw? Steve?
I think we lose this. I think Portland comes to play and beat a USL team.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea how to read. And I also don't know how I'm going to feel regardless of, like, if we win, it's going to be like, If we draw or lose, then, you know, I think the panic bells are going even more for me. But we'll see. That's kind of the state of things. Did you guys have anything else you want to talk about on this one?
Does it look like Robbie?
The bobblehead?
This is the Mertz bobblehead.
I see like glimpses of Robbie. I know it's a big conversation. Does it look like Robbie? Yeah. Josh, do you think it looks like Robbie?
I don't think it looks a lot like Robbie, but honestly, I'm not mad about this bobblehead. I mean, it looks good. I don't know. It's kind of goofy.
I'm ticked that they use it as an opportunity to plug a sponsor. Like, it should just be Robbie, not like Robbie within like the sponsor next to his
foot. Who do you think paid to get these made?
I know, but I'm just,
I'm fine with that. I don't know. That's just part of the name of the game, and that could easily be
removed.
But I don't really want to do that. I don't want to break my bobblehead situation.
I think I'm just tired of marketing being literally everywhere these days. So
merchandising.
Speaking of, I was actually thinking it could be really fun, Josh, if you do get this AI up and running. We could literally have a Q&A episode where we literally just post questions and type it in and see what Lily's response would be. So you're shaking your head, but if people have questions that they want to ask the Lily AI, either leave a comment below in the video or email us at mongols3@gmail.com. We're going to do this. This is going to be fun. It's going to be
Bob's
great.
going to lose his mind and sue you.
Mike's going to do this.
Great.
Mike's really excited for this.
It's going to be so much fun. We'll save a segment for it. Send us your questions for Lily AI. AI Lily. AI. We'll call it AI Lily.
So, Josh, you want to start a podcast, Goals on the Mon, a completely different podcast?
He's going to replace it with his AI co-host.
Yeah, that's right. Otherwise, I think that's it. We talked about a lot of stuff. I'm really interested in what other people think with this whole Lily situation, with the whole Highmark situation. And, you know, we know, I think one of the big things that we can look forward to is we do have all these renovations that are coming. I know that nothing has been revealed to the public yet, but we do have some insider info as to what you can expect. And some of the stuff sounds amazing. So I think regardless, the organization is headed in the right direction, especially with everything we talked about with USL Premier. This just feels like a speed bump that we kind of need to get through or over, and then it's going to be happy times all over again. So I think in my mind, the sooner we can get past this, the better, because this does continue to be a trajectory upwards. It's just, we're kind of in this stuck situation right now, which isn't great. So I think that's it. Guys, let us know what you think. Obviously, we appreciate all the support. You can check us out, wherever it is you get your podcast. Also on YouTube, if you're watching this, we really appreciate it there. As I mentioned, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, thoughts, you can email us at mongols3@gmail.com. Otherwise, we'll be back with more Hounds content for you very, very soon.
Later.
See ya.